Hi, I'm Meredith Schmoyer, a sophomore here at Parkland High School, and today I'm interviewing Kassie Helgert, the CEO and president of Arts Quest. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great, Meredith. How are you?
Good. So I thought the first question I was going to ask you was, where are you from?
Sure, I'm kind of from all over. I was actually born in White Plains, New York, but I grew
Wow.
up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and then moved up here to the Lehigh Valley when I was 11. So I've been here for quite some time. We don't have to talk about how old I am now. Just know that I came here when I was 11.
Okay. And now, did you go to college around here?
I went to Penn State, main campus.
Oh, and what degree did you earn there?
I got a Bachelor of Arts in Speech Communications from Penn State.
Oh, okay, that's very interesting.
Yeah, well, I started actually as a journalism major, went to the University of Ohio University in Athens, Ohio, my first year, and quickly learned that while I love writing, journalism was probably not going to be where I wanted to go. But I did love storytelling, and I love the idea of being creative, and so that's when I transferred and switched majors.
That's so interesting. What is the best advice you ever received, either at college or before you were at college?
Sure, I think the best advice I ever received was from my dad. He had a plaque on his desk for his entire career that said, "It doesn't matter, or there's no telling how far you'll go if you don't care who gets the credit." And that has been a guiding principle to me, that when you work in a team, and we will all work in teams, whether you're a leader in one team or you're part of a team member in another situation, if everyone shares in the credit, you're getting the best of everyone who's involved in that project. So for me, in this role, it is, I think, imperative to give away to the credit to my staff, who really does the heavy lifting and most of the work. And without them and their ideas, I wouldn't be able to get anything done.
That's great advice. I think everyone can use advice like that in their life.
Absolutely.
So what do you consider your biggest achievement, either before you started working at Arts Quest or after?
You know, I like to think that my biggest achievement is still in front of me. So I have a lot of things that I still want to accomplish. And this may sound simple, but for me, graduating from college was a big deal to me. I thought college, when I was younger, was very intimidating. My brother was an engineer. He also graduated from Penn State. He was very good in math and science. And I didn't have those same skill sets. And so I didn't know what my capacity would be to graduate college, but thanks to phenomenal professors, great staff support group, I wrote for the Daily Collegian, the daily newspaper up there. That was a big accomplishment to me, and it gave me a bedrock accomplishment that made me think there wasn't anything I couldn't overcome if I just started putting one foot in front of the other.
That's great. I think that's a lot of achievements for a lot of people graduating college. That is a really big achievement.
It is. It's so daunting when you first start it, but just like with any big
definitely.
task, just take it day by day and take it step by step, and you'll get there.
Okay, so who is the biggest inspiration in your life?
If you would have asked me that before COVID, I think I would have had a completely different answer. Now there are several groups that are my daily inspiration. And I think first and foremost of all those that have lost someone during this and have not had the traditional grieving process and funerals and get-togethers that we all need to get through things like that. And the fact that they keep getting up every day is an inspiration to me. And then when I think about frontline workers, just not in healthcare, but at the grocery store, at the gas station, these are people that are making sure that life goes on and that we can do what we need to, and they're putting their life at risk every day. And then finally, my staff. I see my staff, they're taking care of parents and also kids. They've got student debt. They've got all kinds of things that they have to worry about. And they're sticking it out with Arts Quest at a time when we can't put on a whole lot of programming and do what we normally do. So they are a daily inspiration to me, that they stay as engaged and as passionate as they are.
That's really interesting. Let's go back to what you said about your inspiration before COVID. Who would you say that would have been?
I have to say my mom and dad. I know that sounds like a basic answer, but my mom did not come from a wealthy background. She put herself through 2 years of community college. She actually directed plays, when she was younger, and she was a working mom. She worked almost my entire adult life, obviously, and when I was younger. And for her to juggle what she did between work and raising a family, and then watching my dad, who moved us around a bit with different career opportunities, but he always was trying something that was different than anything he had done before. So I could follow that example, that you rarely know what it is you're going into, and you rarely have it mastered. And that doesn't matter. What matters is that you're curious and you want to learn, and you never lose that sense of curiosity. And he never did throughout his entire career.
I think my parents are definitely my inspiration, so I feel like that's a lot of people's inspiration growing up. What jobs did you have after college before you started working at Arts Quest?
Sure. So my first job out of college was with a company called MedStar Television. I was an assistant producer there. We produced healthcare television for radio or TV stations all across the country, as well as a TV series called Health Matters. So I traveled all over the country working with healthcare systems and hospitals and doctors and TV stations. So that was a crash course. When you're 21, you're not old enough to rent a car yet. Having to travel around the country and prepare doctors for TV interviews was certainly getting thrown in the deep end.
Yeah.
And then I took a job with Good Shepherd Rehabilitation Network and ended up as their director of communications. And I worked there for a number of years. And from there, I was recruited to Air Products and Chemicals. First, as I worked in their PR department, and then I also moved into their philanthropy and government relations department and learned a ton from a global company about attention to detail and processes and safety. Their level of professionalism was pretty amazing. It was in that role when I was learning about the Lehigh Valley from a philanthropic standpoint, and the company would support certain measures in the community, that I met a gentleman by the name of Jeff Parks, who founded Music Fest and Arts Quest. I certainly grew up going to Music Fest. I was one of those teenagers on Main Street, but didn't know much about it. And Jeff had this crazy vision about building a arts and cultural campus on the former Bethlehem Steel site. This was back in 2007. And I thought it was just the craziest, most ridiculous thing I'd ever heard, and didn't have a prayer of succeeding. But he was so persuasive, and he was so passionate that it only took me a few meetings to know that I had to get on this bandwagon early, because I am a strong believer that the arts are one of the most powerful economic development tools to help revitalize urban or blighted areas. So I joined Arts Quest in 2008 and then succeeded Jeff as president and CEO in 2015.
Now, you became the president when he left, and how did either the other workers at Arts Quest or your family and friends, how did they react when you became the president?
Well, my parents were thrilled. I think my older brother was like, "What? How'd you get that job?" As siblings will do.
Mm-hmm.
I was very fortunate that the staff fully embraced me. We had several sponsors and companies that had reached out to the board search committee to say that they had worked with me and thought I would be a good candidate, which was humbling. And then probably one of my most important audiences, our 1,800 volunteers who really helped run Arts Quest. So many of them reached out to me to say that they were completely behind me. And that was important when you're talking to volunteers that have been volunteering for the organization for 3 decades. I learned more from them than I know they learned from me. So to have them think that I could do this job was truly humbling.
What is the most fulfilling thing about your job? Before COVID and now during COVID?
Sure. Before COVID, the most satisfying thing either before COVID or during it is what I just said. It's working with a staff of professionals. The people I work with are the most creative, dedicated, smart, passionate group that come up with ideas and push us in directions that I certainly could not come up with on my own. The volunteers who make that magic happen, we could not afford to hire 1,800 people. So the fact that they can give us that time, energy, and talent is critical. But I will tell you that when you are able to put on a concert for 6,500 people during Music Fest, and you're walking around that stage right before the artist comes out, and you just feel that pregnant anticipation of excitement, or when you're walking around when the festival's getting set up, and you see everyone is excited and can't wait for the next 10 days. It's usually my favorite memories are right before something happens, when all the energy and the preparation and the time that it has taken to put together is just about to happen. So those are beautiful moments for me.
Oh, that sounds so fulfilling. Now, when you started working at Arts Quest, did you like to work at Arts Quest because that it was business or arts, or did you like it that it combined both?
Combines both. That is the biggest deal to me. I have been on the board of Discover Lehigh Valley, been on the board of the Lehigh Valley Economic Development Corporation. When I was in high school, I was involved in theater. So I have a love for the arts, but I also think we need to spend more time talking about the influence and impact that the arts have on communities, from small businesses to restaurants to hotels to other local businesses that we need, from tent companies to rental companies for chairs and ice and all kinds of things. People think that manufacturing is important, and it is. Agriculture is important, and it is. But when you look at the arts nationally, the arts is a bigger industry than agriculture. So that gives you a sense and scale of the importance and the size and the depth of the arts in this country. I just love the challenge of taking the arts and using it for an economic impact purpose. So you fill people up spiritually through the arts and you connect the community through the arts, but it also has a tangible impact on creating jobs, creating salaries, and helping to create sustainability for people.
I feel like the arts really connected people during COVID with like the virtual concerts. I feel like that music, all of that really connected people.
Yes, Music Fest last year, while a lot of it was streaming, we had 2 million viewers, and we had viewers from 26 countries.
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
So it's truly connecting the globe.
And now, what would you say to young girls interested in one day becoming CEOs and presidents of a company?
Go for it. Never take no for an answer. Go after your dream. People are going to tell you you can't do it. People are going to tell you that you should smile more, you should be nicer, you should not hurt people's feelings. Everyone should be civil. I'm all for that. But women and young girls especially should know and believe and act like they should have a seat at the table, because they should. And very often the only way you're going to take that seat is if you pull it back from the table yourself and sit down.
That is such good advice. And now, Kassie, where do you think you see yourself in 10 or 15 years?
Well, I would love to still be doing this. This is a passion of mine that while I've been at Arts Quest for 12 years, I feel like I haven't even worked there a month. It's always something new and different every day. We still have so many things we want to accomplish. There's a lot that the arts can continue to do, not just for Bethlehem, but the Lehigh Valley and beyond. So I'd love to be here. If not in this role, I would love to be much more involved as I move on to a different part of my career as far as a phase, getting more involved with teaching younger employees, advising younger employees, mentoring the younger generation on avoiding maybe some of the mistakes and the missteps I made. And if nothing else, giving them the confidence to believe that whatever it is they are dreaming, chances are they're not even dreaming high enough. So to go after what you believe in and what your vision is, and not to back down for that. I am so amazed by your generation, by what you are going to learn going through this. You have yet, and we won't know until we get out of this, just how resilient it is going to make you and how flexible. The skills you're going to create from going through something like this, I think is going to fundamentally transform our society and our economy. And I'm really excited to see that. And I'm more excited to be involved in whatever small way I can to help make that happen.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I'm Meredith Schmoyer from Parkland TV.